Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. Plenty of stocks to talk about, so let's get straight to it. Vodafone Idea is the first one that we're looking at this morning. Reema's here to tell us why she's watching that one. Reema, over to you.
Hi, thanks so much for that. So there is a board meet scheduled on Saturday, 6th of April, where the board will consider a fundraise from the promoters up to 2,075 crore rupees. This will be done via the issuance of equity convertible securities on a preferential basis to either one or both the promoters. Remember, one of the promoters is Aditya Birla Group and the other one is Vodafone PLC. In the past, the promoters have committed to about 2,000 crore of a fund, of an equity infusion, and looks like that's going to, come to a fruition. Once the promoters infuse money, it gives confidence to go ahead to the external investors to raise the balance 20,000 crore rupees that the company wants to raise to roll out its 5G, accelerate its 4G capex and pay down their debt, and also go ahead and look at the bank raising. So this promoter infusion is going to be very crucial, and 6th of April is when the board will give its nod to raise 2,075 crore rupees from one or both the promoter groups. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Reema, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's hop across to Abhishek. Abhishek, morning. There are a lot of banking updates that came overnight. Take us through some of them.
Well, yes, Nigel, many lenders have given their provisional business update for Q4 FY24. To begin with, L&T Finance, the retail AUM growth is really strong. The retail disbursals are up more than 33% YOY and about 3.7% sequentially. This has led to retail AUM growth of 31% YOY and about 7% sequentially. The disbursal to AUM ratio has remained steady for them at 35% versus close to 37% in the previous quarter. So, steady state of business for L&T Finance. RBL Bank, the deposit growth has actually surprised. Our deposit growth is nearly 22% YOY, which is the highest that you are seeing in last 3 years, and about 11.55% on a sequential basis, which is the highest that you are seeing in last 5 years. CASA ratio, one of the phenomenon that every lender is fighting with, has actually improved for them on a sequential basis. Advances growth at 19.2% YOY is perhaps one of the lowest in last 3 quarters, but sequential growth is at 4.5%. Now, CD ratio has declined sharply by almost 550 basis points on a sequential basis on account of strong deposit growth. Poonawalla Fincorp, the strong growth in terms of business momentum continues for them. Disbursals are up close to 52% YOY and about 10.9% sequentially. This has led to AUM growth of 53.6% YOY and about 13% sequentially. Their asset quality continues to improve. Gross NPA ratio is down to 1.2% versus 1.3%, and liquidity in the balance sheet is up 25% sequentially to about 3,600 crores. Back to you.
Abhishek, thanks very much for that. But let's move on from banking to retail. Avenue Supermarts business update. Mangalam has got details. Mangalam, morning.
Good morning. So, DMart could be one of the stocks of today's trading session, and that's because it's a good update that has come in from the company. A 20% revenue growth that they've reported in the fourth quarter on a standalone basis. Why is this a positive? Because one, 4-year CAGR is around 14%, so revenue growth is higher as compared to the average. Secondly, the store addition year on year is 12.5%. So what it implies is that the revenue growth is higher than store addition, which means there is high single digit or low double digit sort of same store sales growth. And that would be the highest that we've seen in the last many quarters. The second big positive is that store addition has also picked up. Typically, the company adds the maximum number of stores at the end of the year in the fourth quarter, and this time around as well. 21 stores is what they've added, meeting their annual guidance of nearly 40 stores this year. We have to watch out for what the gross margin trajectory is, the performance of non-FMCG products in the sales mix, which are more margin accretive, but that is something we'll know only in the results. Over the last 10 days or so, a couple of brokerages have been positive on DMart as well, so expect the stock to do well today.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, AngelOne is the stock that could be in focus. Very strong numbers coming through. Client base has gone up 61% year on year. Vamakshi is here to tell us more about that. Vamakshi, over to you.
Well, absolutely, Sonia. When we look at the numbers, however, on a month-on-month basis, gross client acquisition has actually slowed down by almost 16.8% month-on-month. And in fact, this is the third consecutive quarter where the gross client acquisition has seen a bit of a slowdown. The total client base has gone up by almost only 3.8% on a month-on-month basis to 2.22 crores. AngelOne relies heavily on the income from the F&O segment, and F&O based on option premium turnover market share has actually managed to slip by almost 25 basis points month-on-month to 20%. After a brief recovery in the month of Feb, the commodity market share has also slipped by 150 basis points month-on-month to 58.8%, while the average daily turnover is at 44 lakhs, which is again down nearly 2.6% on a month-on-month basis. Of course, the number of days, trading days were lower month-on-month, from 21 in the month of Feb to 18 in the month of March. So largely a weak update coming in from AngelOne on a month-on-month basis.
Okay, all right, Vamakshi, thanks a lot for that. Yesterday, towards the end of trade, in fact, that stock shot up. So let's see how it reacts today. But let's go to Sonal, who's with us to run us through a news flow on ONGC and Brigade. Hey, Sonal.
Good morning, Nigel. Let me start with ONGC. Because of the crude price move that we've seen, the government has gone ahead. They've increased the windfall taxes on crude oil production to 6,800 rupees per ton versus 4,900 rupees per ton. That's a 40% increase that we are seeing. And this is the fifth hike that we've seen in windfall taxes since February itself. The windfall tax on ATF, diesel and petrol continues to be nil, but this could be a risk for ONGC and Oil India if the crude oil prices continue to go higher. For Brigade Enterprises, the company has entered into a joint development agreement with United Oxygen Company Private Limited to develop Grade A office in the city of Bengaluru. They say that leasable area is 3 lakh square feet with a gross development value of around 340 crore rupees. We'll get more details in the interaction with management that we have ahead.
Absolutely, that's coming up later, Sonal. Thanks very much for that. GE Power and KC International are the other names we have on our focus list. Vamakshi has got details here. Vamakshi, hi.
Well, yes, KEC, let's first focus on that stock. The company has secured orders of almost 816 crores across various businesses. These orders include those for civil, T&D, and as well as the cable businesses. Of course, this is a very big order, but the total order intake for FY24 along with this order stands at 18,102 crores. And this, in fact, is lower than what the company had guided for. The company has fallen short of order inflow guidance for FY24. Remember, the company had given an order inflow guidance of almost 20,000 crores. So on the back of that, going with red for KEC. GE Power India also in focus. The company has bagged 2 orders from Jai Prakash Power Ventures. These orders aggregate to nearly 775 crores. Contracts have been awarded for their Nigri as well as Bina thermal power plant, and the execution period is 33 months for the Nigri plant and 30 months for the Bina plant.
Okay, well, HDFC Bank's Q4 update has also come in on the screen. The deposit growth is pretty strong, actually, 26.4% year-on-year, 7.5% quarter-on-quarter, and the gross advances are also up about 56% on a year-on-year basis. Looking pretty good there. More details coming up in a bit, but here is a quick update of our top stocks with positive news flow. There's Vodafone Idea, L&T Finance, RBL Bank, Poonawalla FinCorp, Avenue Supermarts, Brigade Enterprises and GE Power. While stocks with negative news flow, there's AngelOne, ONGC and KEC International. But let's also get you an update on what's happening in the world of commodities, because Brent crude has been inching higher, now almost at $90 a barrel. Manisha Gupta is joining in to give us a roundup of all the action there. Manisha, morning.
Morning, and thank you for that, Sonia. Well, yes, the crude oil prices have continued to hold above that 89 mark, and we've seen prices gain up by almost 16% this year until time. Well, the wider Middle East conflict really seems to be adding premium to the prices. Addition also because of the decline in dollar index that has been supportive, and with the U.S. Fed Powell speech yesterday that the lower policy interest rates would likely be appropriate at some point this year have done the trick too. So not just the crude oil prices, which by the way are trading at a 5-month highs, you have all the metals surging up to multi-month highs, and gold for that matter. Today is the 8th straight day that you have gold scaling a new record high, and this time above $2,300 an ounce. If you look at the COMEX June gold, that is crossed above $2,320. So when you look at the further months, the prices are even higher, suggesting a higher trend to continue. It is absolutely overbought on the charts, but the momentum still on the higher side, and gold and silver both shining bright right now too.
Oil, gold, silver, I mean, commodities are having a field day, isn't it, Manisha? Thanks very much for joining us with all those details, and we'll have more with her. I mean, from a stock market perspective as well, I mean, that's the pack which is outperforming. So more on this as we go along.